Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And indeed, I exchanged my Bigot Monster Pro for this InMotion V11. So, I think I need to tell you more about it.
Wrong way.
Alright guys, but before you go all ham into the comment section and ask what's happening, why is this, did Adam lose his mind, and so on, hear me out, alright? Alright, so first maybe a little backstory, or in general some info that on the wheels that I actually own at home and that I ride. I have a couple of wheels that I use on a day-to-day basis. Most notably, I have the Veteran Sherman for a long time already. Kate has also one wheel, she has the Tesla V2, and we have also a couple other wheels which usually just change around. For once, I want to do a long time experience after really owning a wheel for like 2,000, 3,000 kilometers and upwards. And the second reason is just I really like them and I really just want to have them available for me every day. And I'm somehow resonating with the idea or the certain, implementation of a wheel. So I said for a long time, I had the Veteran Sherman, which is sort of like the device that I am not meaning to sell, and if I don't ride it, then Kate will ride it. But I had the S18 before, which I sold after a while. I had the V11 before, actually this very V11, but I'll tell you about that a bit later, which I then exchanged for a MSX, and the MSX for MSP. So there's always a vehicle that is, pretty robust and durable that I use as a, primary mode of transport or a safe mode of transport that I'm, not scared that it will break down in rain or something. And that's what the Veteran Sherman is. But then I also had, the MSP, which was for jumping. I still have it, but it's going up for sale. And I had the Monster Pro. And the Monster Pro was a wheel that I just really wanted because I wanted to experience it because very few people ride the Monster Pro. Wanted to see how it is up close and personal, and I wanted to see how it really behaves in everyday life. And because the Sherman is a quick wheel, I also wanted to have something that in case Kate takes the Sherman, I can keep up with, because I can't keep up with her anymore on the MSP, at least sometimes if we are driving speedily, or I wouldn't have enough range, So that's where the Monster Pro came in. And I bought it at my e-wheel, and you have to keep in mind that I have special prices at my e-wheel just because, automatically if I buy a wheel, it's some sort of advertisement, but I still pay for them. So they're actually still being paid. I don't get them for free. If I get the wheel for free, then I'll tell you about it. But the Monster Pro wasn't one of them. So essentially I was riding it as a cruiser wheel, as a wheel that I really like to use on the road, just sort of a Sherman, but bigger, bulkier, and more comfy. So why did I decide to sell it and trade it for this V11? Well, first of all is all of the things we recently found out about Guads, like the lack of short circuit protection, and in general, I was getting tired of having a wheel which has a questionable quality and especially is really stressful to ride in rain. If you don't know, I actually had 3 cutouts on Guads in rain. You shouldn't ride those things in rain, but turns out that sometimes even just like wet concrete or super slight rain is enough to cause water to get into the shell. So I had 1 cutout on a speed bump on the MSP. I had 1 cutout on the MSP at slow speed because it's just bumped up on a small curb. And the 3rd cutout on a Guad in rain was on the EX when I was going downstairs. So even though my Monster Pro was waterproof from the inside and all of the holes that are sort of designed for cooling but also for water ingress were closed, I was still kind of hesitant to take it out if there's more rain outside. Because something new can build up, maybe I doesn't close everything up, and all of the compartments are connected, so it's always a bit of a stress in the back of my mind. And talking about the short circuit protection or the batteries that we recently made the videos about, my Monster Pro is probably fine. I mean, if my MSP was fine after all the terror it went through, I guess the Monster Pro is too. However, there's still a bit of fear creeping in at some point that if something goes haywire, you know, the BMS, the battery, basically anything in the system, and just the right, you know, combination of things happens, or the welds will not melt if the battery starts to, you know, heat up extremely, then I have a problem at home. And I don't really want that, especially if I have so many wheels at home. So I'm shifting more towards owning safe wheels and really wheels that I can recommend, instead of just going, you know, for the outright performance and, you know, innovation that Guads is pushing. You know, it's the first wheel with 18 MOSFETs, biggest wheel, and so on and so on. But the problem is that, you know, I post those things online, I make pictures of it, I make videos, and etc., etc. And at this point, people might not know that I changed all of the inside of this wheel, and they might not think that there is so much, you know, questionable quality control there, and the electronics are also, like, you know, could be better, a lot better. So this is also one reason, just the, you know, amount of exposition that the wheels get when they are on my channel, and how, you know, other people get inspired by that. Nevertheless, I wanted to do a, you know, revisit of the Monster Pro after a while, but I actually sold it yesterday, so I didn't have enough time to make it, and it was also raining a bit yesterday, so I wasn't really keen on doing that. So sorry for that. But what I wanted to mention after these 3,000 kilometers is, especially after riding the V12 for a while, the Monster has kind of a lot of pedal dipping, you know, in turns. It doesn't bother me that much because the pedals are high, but it does that. And another thing it does that I didn't notice so much before is that if you accelerate, the pedals go up a bit, and if you decelerate, they're going down. And this is a thing that only Guads does, and especially on high speed wheels this is present. So in InMotion wheels, or in, you know, King Songs and other veteran Sherman, the pedals go down as you accelerate, so you're not that inclined sort of to overpower it. But then in Guads it just goes up, and at some point you overpower it, and then they just flip down, which is kind of counterintuitive. But yeah, the Monster Pro does that. It doesn't have pedal dipping on successive bumps, and I think it certainly is, at least in street conditions, much more comfortable than the V11 I'm riding now, because I have, you know, direct comparison. Maybe let's not take it as a final statement, because I still need to adjust the pressure on the V11, and I have a new tire on it. I need to, you know, get familiar with it, so wait for a revisit of the V11 for this reason. But in terms of just, you know, how smooth the ride is on, you know, various surfaces, on cobblestone, etc., etc., the Monster Pro is amazing. So the Abrams is also coming soon to me, and this wheel is actually sponsored by Veteran, and I know that their quality is higher than what is happening in Bigode or at Bigode. So with a kind of similar battery, it will be enough for me to take the Abrams and not have this small fear creeping in the back of my mind about the Monster Pro. So these are most of the reasons, and now maybe the reasons why I got this V11. So I wanted to do a revisit of the V11 for a long time, and you know, at the time before I didn't have pads, I was way less of a skilled rider, and my skills progressed a lot from that time, so I felt like it's necessary. But with the small availability of wheels that we have now, it was kind of difficult to get, and I really felt like, you know, testing it again. Now I could wait potentially a longer time to get it, but the thing is that this V11 has, you know, all of the features. It has this, you know, Lemfo display here, which is awesome. It has a off-road tire, mud guards, FAG bearings, sort of everything that needs to be fixed on the wheel at a factory or changed. This wheel already has it. So it isn't not only the money I would spend to make the V11 as I would want to have it, but it's also just the time that I would need to spend and the amount of labor. Oh, look. And now, see? No anger needed. Yeah, just the amount of time and energy I would need to spend to make this wheel as it is now if I would get a new one. Because I put up the Monster Pro for around €2,500 for sale, I could sell it potentially, but I also like trading. So I like the value of, you know, just exchanging stuff. And I also did it a bit for the meme, because this is the exact V11 I traded back in the day for the MSX. It's the exact same. And Mateusz, who is the owner of it, or was the owner of it, repaired everything on it, and I'll tell you about that in a future video too. But it's in a perfect shape, and it has all of the accessories that I would potentially need on a wheel to make like a review that is based on the best possible experience on a wheel. So with Nylonova pedals, with power pads, with, you know, additional screen, LEDs, and etc., and good bearings. So that's that. And now that I have the Sherman and I won't ride the MSP that much anymore, it's good to have another wheel, which is also a bit longer range. Which has a bit more power, a bit more range. And I'd really love to experience the suspension again. And I got also some money on top of that. So yeah, I traded the Monster Pro for a V11, and for now I'm kind of happy. I really like to ride this wheel, and I also have a bit more peace of mind, especially that I don't think there was ever any fire recorded with a V11. So yeah, the new owner knows a lot about electronics. He knows what he does with an electric wheel, so I think he will also take care of the Monster Pro well. And I know that he will also think about his safety and what to do with the wheel to not increase any risk about, you know, battery damage and so on and so forth. So I think it's also in good hands, and he also has experience that he wanted to check out a wheel that is a 24-inch Monster Pro. So with that said, I hope you like this video. If you're still here, like the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon. Oh yeah, maybe one more thing that changed over the time is that I just became a much more careful, safety induced rider. I don't like speeding on the road so much anymore. I much more appreciate just to go slow on the bike paths. And if I have to, I will go on the road and I will go fast, but I'm just much more careful now, and I enjoy the slower speeds in the city. It just makes me less tired. I have more range, and I can also brake better for, you know, oncoming traffic, pedestrians, bicycles, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's it.